Breaking news, the Mavericks and Kyrie Irving have agreed to a new contract. Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports, a breaking news edition. As you can see, I'm in my car right now outside the restaurant I was at, but I had to come and get you guys a video on the latest news. There was a report from Shams Charania earlier today that the Mavericks and Kyrie Irving had not yet agreed to a deal and they were some ways apart. He said that the Mavericks were lowballing Kyrie to the point where if a new deal was not agreed to by tonight, it would be because Kyrie did not feel like the Mavericks were giving him proper value. Well, as we sit here at about 8:20 p.m. Central Time, Kyrie Irving and the Mavericks have agreed to a new 3-year deal. This is why you subscribe, because whether I'm in the car, whether I'm at the studio, whether I'm at home, when Mavericks news drops, I'm going to have you covered right here. So hit that subscribe button. It's youtube.com/MavericksTV. So some details here. Kyrie is going to decline his $42.9 million player option for next season and sign a new 3-year, $119 million deal with a player option for the 2027-28 NBA season. So Kyrie will be under contract for at least 2 more seasons with the player option on the third, and the Mavericks will save, roughly $4 million on his salary. It would have been $43 million had he opted in. It's going to come down to 39 and change, or whatever the case may be. Maybe even a little less than that if it's an ascending contract. And this was the only move that was ever going to happen between Kyrie Irving and the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavs needed Kyrie after the Luka trade. Kyrie was the only proven ball handler they had on this team, and Kyrie needed the Dallas Mavericks. There was no other team that had salary cap space that could have afforded to pay Kyrie. The Brooklyn Nets were the only team with max space. They just made another move today with the 3-team deal involving Kristaps Porzingis, and they now have 5 picks in this year's draft. It's unbelievable what they're doing, but they were never going to get Kyrie, especially given how things ended there with his time in Brooklyn. And this was the only way that this was going to end. There was never going to be a situation where Kyrie wasn't going to be a Dallas Maverick next season, and now they have him locked in for the next 3 years at $119 million. Now, of course, Kyrie won't be back to playing for the Mavericks until January at the earliest, according to Shams Charania. I seem to think it's going to be mid-February, right around the All-Star break, when Kyrie makes his return for the Mavericks. But all in all, this is a good deal. The Mavericks actually save money on Kyrie's salary for next year, and they get him under contract for the next 3 years. Kyrie is looked at as one of the leaders of this team, both on and off the court. He's obviously, for my money, he's the best player on the team until we see what Cooper Flagg is going to do. He was basically the spokesman from the players to the media and to the organization after everything that happened last year. There's a great relationship between both Kyrie and Jason Kidd. There's a great relationship between Kyrie and Nico Harrison, and he feels very confident in the direction of this franchise. So I do think that this was just a marriage made in heaven, and the Mavericks just had to get this deal done, and the deadline for Kyrie to opt in or out of his contract extension was going to be 10:59 p.m. tonight. It sounds like he's going to opt out, and then we'll sign that brand new deal, or he will agree to that brand new deal officially once free agency opens here on July 30th. You can't sign it until July 6th when the moratorium period ends. But that leaves the Mavericks, or that shores up the Mavericks point guard spot for the time being. So now you have Brandon Williams, who's going to start the year on the Mavericks roster as the only true point guard. We don't know what's going to happen with Dante Exum, who apparently is going to have interest from the Los Angeles Lakers, among other teams, once free agency opens here on June 30th. But Kyrie's going to be out for the first half of the season, so what does that mean for the Mavericks going forward? Will it be a guy like Chris Paul, who they could spend that taxpayer mid-level on at about $5.5 million? Will it be a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, who they could also use that taxpayer mid-level on? Or will they go trade for a guy like Colin Sexton, who is making about $16 million next year? And the Mavs could certainly shift some things around and make a deal happen between them and the Utah Jazz in order to acquire Sexton's services for next season. The Mavericks certainly have options now, but their priority number one this offseason, outside of drafting Cooper Flagg, was to get Kyrie Irving under contract on this new deal, and they did that. So now they can move on to their potentially external targets that they may go target here in 2025 NBA free agency. Again, I don't know what's going to happen and who the Mavericks are going to target there, but they certainly have options now with Kyrie in the fold. Grade the extension for me. 3 years, $119 million. Grade it for me down in the comment section. A, B, C, D, or F. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. You may get hit with a YouTube ad break here in just a couple seconds. While that happens, go on down there and get your votes in and grade that extension. For me, it's a B plus, A minus. This was the deal that was rumored basically forever, since even before Kyrie tore his ACL. This was the deal that they were going to give him, and it's the deal he ended up with. This is exactly what I expected was going to happen. This is what the league widely expected to happen. Shams Charania came out with that report earlier, and to be honest, I think it was a bit of Shams kind of sensationalizing and fear-mongering the fan bases, so to speak, and trying to come up with some crazy rumors that simply just weren't going to happen. Like I said, guys, Kyrie was never going anywhere, and I thought the report from Shams was a little disingenuous. I don't know whether Kyrie leaked that to go put pressure on the Mavericks in order to give him that player option in the third season, or if I don't know, some other scenario, or if the Mavericks leaked that to try to get Kyrie to agree to the deal they wanted him to. Whatever it was, I just really didn't believe that report, and he said it would be a situation that he's going to be monitoring. There was nothing to monitor. Kyrie was always going to be a Maverick. He wanted to be here. The Mavericks wanted him here, so they got the deal done, which is exactly what needed to happen. They got it done with 2 hours and change to spare ahead of that deadline, and so now the Mavericks can move on to their targets. They can put their full focus at least on tomorrow and selecting Cooper Flagg with the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft. So your new look Mavericks are going to be Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis. Daniel Gafford signed his contract extension yesterday, or agreed to it, 3 years and $54 million. You have Derek Lively in the fold, and then who knows where they go from there. I think there's a couple of options that they can do. Like I said, Chris Paul, Malcolm Brogdon. They could go find a wing if they wanted to with that taxpayer mid-level, and there are still some trades that they potentially could make as well. So the Mavericks do have options on the table here for themselves, but they got the biggest piece of their offseason done, which was signing Kyrie Irving to a 3-year, $119 million deal. Again, he's going to opt out of the final year of his contract, and then he'll agree/sign that new deal once free agency officially opens. So Kyrie back with the Mavs for at least the next 2 seasons, player option on that 3rd year. This is good news all around for the Dallas Mavericks. That's going to be it for today's show, guys. Appreciate you for tuning in to Mavericks Today by Chat Sports, live from my car in the greater Dallas, Texas area. I never thought I'd be doing a video in my car. And just a reminder, we'll be going live tomorrow on the channel for the 2025 NBA Draft. We'll probably be going live right around 6 p.m. Central Time or so, an hour before the draft is officially set to begin, and we will welcome Cooper Flagg to the Dallas Mavericks. I absolutely can't wait to chop it up with you guys, hang out, and have fun. It's going to be a blast. This offseason is going to be extremely interesting for the Mavericks, I think. We still don't know what's going to go on with the coaching changes and whatnot, but of course, if anything happens, I'll have you guys up to date. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys soon here on the channel.